All right, so I figure people would rather hear about this than listen to me talk about movies and what I think about the current state of movies are, like I did in that live stream a couple nights ago. So I know I get a lot of comments. They're not really about like what happened to our old JS group, what happened with the whole JS group itself. It's more like where's Crackbone? Where's Crackbone? But I think this kind of ties into what happened with the JS group. Okay, so um, you know, back in those days 15 years ago, people thought like something was like new and exciting with the whole YouTube thing, right? So they just really wanted to be a part of it, especially when you see like all these forums and all these other groups like posting links and talking about who's doing what and that sort of thing. And then, because I kind of grew up from like a internet clan kind of background, I jumped from gaming clan to gaming clan. First off, I started in a clan for the game Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Then I went to a clan for Battlefield 2. I got kicked out because I was a bit too much of a loudmouth. And then, because of that whole experience, I was pretty upset about getting kicked out. I started JS. I mean, I don't know if you want to say I started it, but I was definitely like trying to um, act like the ringleader slash moderator or whatever. And obviously there were a lot of disagreements and issues after 2, 3, 4 years of all of us being together. So for example, the main reason that whole kind of split began was because of Crackbone. And I can tell you two members, well, maybe not two members, but like at least one member that, of our old group, we had a group of like 10, 15, 20 people. Initially they said very positive things about this Crackbone character. And, we met this guy on Zombie Panic Source, and this was a recommendation from some guy from Ohio who met him on Zombie Panic Source. And he told us all like, look, you guys got to meet this person. Like he's hilarious and he's out of control and he's totally unique and different from like 90% of the people that play source mods or more. Right. So we started having like art, you have certain people in the group that didn't get along. And I can say this, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, because I'm the one that ended up screwing the whole thing up. I would try to actually like talk to these people and be like, look, let's try and figure out whatever our disagreements are, whatever is going on, and let's just try and get along, make peace, whatever, that sort of thing. And so eventually I would actually try hard to do this sort of thing. And, after 3, 4 years of doing that, you're just like, I don't really give a shit anymore who dislikes who. And, there's a whole lot of politics and there's a whole lot of luck that went into the whole years that our group was like uploading those videos to Machinima. But I will say this, and I'm not trying to gripe and I'm not trying to like bitch about this, because I think I deserved like the brunt of this, but you had at least two people in the group that kind of came from the outside from Ohio that kind of like complained like, look, why are you letting Xanatos like put you in all these videos and do all these things with you, and he's not really doing much for you at all. And I mean, the way I looked at it, we were just having fucking fun. And I don't really want to get too involved as to why, like, I didn't like try to like keep everything together, other than like, it's just too much work, especially when you're dealing with a group with 10, 15, 20 people. Like how the hell are you going to keep all those people happy? Like that's impossible. And so that's just a old story from the old Machinima days, 10, 15 years ago. I ended up doing really stupid shit. Like I went off to college. So I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck this shit, kind of playing politics and trying to keep everybody happy. Like that's a really, really, really tall order. And I think that's pretty much why the group fell apart. Because, I said this a long time ago, but a lot of you guys are probably hearing this for the first time. So like, let's say we had this Ventrilo server or Discord server that was like a group of 16, 20 people. And in the beginning, we used to all hang out and get along together and be fine. But it eventually kind of diverted into like 4 groups of 4, or like, 5 groups of 4. And that's exactly why like things went south really quick, because when they realized like, oh, he doesn't give a shit about us, or this person doesn't give a shit about me, like you know, it's so hard to keep a group of 20 people together. But I'm still like so happy, like, you know, that G-Man Squad 1 episode, like I hope you guys all watch the commentary. Like that's just like pure like magic and pure luck. Like, you know, you couldn't probably ever replicate something like that today. And a lot of that was because at the time it was new, it was fresh. You know, it was cool to be a part of YouTube in the early days. Because when did this website start? 2004, and we were doing all that stuff in like 2007, 2008. I remember even uploading things. Some of you old guys will remember Google Video from 2006, and it's just like, all I can say is like, you know, I did that one live stream like a year or two ago, just saying like, you know, you just kind of give up after a while. And that's why I think it's a little easier if you only have to manage a group of 2 or 3 people instead of 15, right? Because how do you please everybody? Like, you know, if you do something for one person, you do something for another person, like the other people are going to look around and be like, what the fuck? You know? So that's pretty much what happened. You know, you just kind of like, it's too hard to make everybody get along with each other. And I'm sure it's even harder in today's day and age. So I don't know. It was a very unique thing. I'm still proud of it, even 15 years later. Like, you know, that was, again, I've said this before, like being unique is not everything, but like, you know, what are you going to find that was like some of that shit we did 10, 15 years ago? Like it's totally like, I kind of think it stands the test of time. And it's also like something that people look back on that it's just like, well, this is, I mean, I still get comments to this day that it's just like, wow, you know, I was a kid when I first watched these videos, and like, I pretty much remember them to this day, and watching them again, it takes me back, and that's awesome, man. But, you know, my whole excuse is like, obviously there was not a whole lot of forward planning, and it was obviously a lot harder to kind of keep the same level of quality going year after year after year. Like 2008 and 2009, man, like holy shit, some of those videos were like, you know, straight fire. And it's hard. Again, I went to college, I did a lot of fucking stupid things, but like, hey man, at least we gave you like 2 or 3 years of like quality content, and I'm proud of that, and I'll still be proud of that, you know, for another 5-10 years. Like it's so nice to read some of these comments now, but at the same time, it is really weird. And I'm sorry for not really coming through with, I guess, kind of spearheading that whole operation. You know, I think David with Icton went through the same shit. You know, Ross, he didn't really have to do that. He didn't have to worry about that because he was just making Freeman's Mind by himself. And that's, I'm sorry, but it's pretty easy, right? And, you know, if you're guys like Richter, you're doing these videos by yourself and like, you're not really dealing with a whole lot. And I kind of adopted that attitude in my college years. It's like, well, I don't want to deal with 10 people. I'd rather deal with 2 or 3. And I don't know. I think, you know, one of the coolest things about G-Man Squad back in the day, people would always comment like, they would have so many different answers for who their favorite persons in the videos were. You would think like everybody would say like, oh, it's just this person or that person, but there was all people from, because we had people from around the world, right? Like Australia, Germany, England, you know, Canada, and everybody had like, oh, I really like this person that's in the video, and I really like that person in the video, and I really like this other person in the video. All their answers were different. So that's how I know like we were doing something like cool. So I don't know. We did a unique thing. Obviously, like it's too much work to kind of keep that going. And at the end of the day, I did some really fucked up shit. But even if I really like went above and beyond and tried to please everybody, like that would have just made things even worse. So, hey, it's cool we did what we did. That's all I got to say. All right, thanks, guys.